And the floor is now yours, Comfort Kitchen.
Is it out on time?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Biplaw, and from Comfort Kitchen, we have Nyako, my wife, and Kwasi Kwa, our chef partner, who is also present here. It's Kwasi's first time in the group, so I want to introduce Kwasi to the group. We were with Ujima's community meeting exactly a year ago, right before pandemic, and we are happy to be back. So we are still going on. Our plan is still happening. We are still pushing to open our doors this year. Our timeline looks a little different because of pandemic. So we are looking into probably towards the end of the year opening. And right now we are doing a lot of pop-ups around city. And I will let Kwasi speak on what we are doing with the pop-up. And Nyako can get into a little bit of updates on our side. Kwasi, do you want to go ahead?
Am I muted? Yep. Okay. So, I mean, for us, the pandemic was a bit of a wrench because it definitely changed the trajectory of what we were trying to do in terms of opening this year, or not this year, last year, I should say. You know, we were planning on doing pop-ups anyway as a way to really connect to our community base and just see what people were interested in terms of food and, you know, basically the food service industry. I think the pandemic definitely showed how fragile the food service industry was. And this is conversation that all three of us had been having for a very long time about what was wrong with the food industry. And Comfort Kitchen was definitely an opportunity to really, you know, get in there and try to do something on our own that could combat everything that we've always thought was wrong with the food service industry. If it came to, you know, pay, the strategies behind pay and how people are treated and how the work is distributed, we always had ifs about it. And Comfort Kitchen was our opportunity to do so. So we always pushed for that. And the fact that the pandemic happened, it kind of highlighted that for us. And it's inspired us more to work towards that. And I think with the pop-ups, the fact that we've been able to do the pop-ups in the pandemic in itself has been revolutionary for us, because it's helped us really learn how deep we were into it and how possible it is to survive in this, you know. So we've been having pop-ups all over the place. We've done Meme, we've done Sweet Basil in Waltham. We're doing Meme. We've done Tanam in Somerville. So we've been all over the place and really learning how, or not how, but what it takes to really be a business in the food industry and be able to survive in this environment if it continues much longer than we expect it to.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, before the pandemic, you know, we were ready to go. We had built our structures, you know, like so many other businesses. And of course, there was even this moment where as soon as the pandemic hit, where it's like, okay, are we doing this? Like, are we really, like, are we about this? And that was a very quick conversation, to be honest, because we knew that we're here for a reason and we're not going to stop and we're still going to push. And, you know, to the points that Kwasi brought up, there are changes that need to happen. And we had already a vision for making some changes around our pay structure, around our general models, and in general, just like taking care of the employees in a different way, really being mindful of the whole person and how we can deal with that. And then also the community, where it's actually a community conversation, it's a dialogue. And that's what we're hoping to do with our food as well, is to have a conversation with the community around it. So we're based on 3 pieces, the 3 C's we call it, but it's collaboration, community building, and then the last piece is cross-cultural understanding. And so something that we learned when we did some community interviews is that people are coming from different places. There's this kind of people that have been in the neighborhood their whole lives to people that are coming in, and there is a disconnect there of people not really hearing, seeing, and understanding each other. And something that was cited in the interviews was food is a way where people have found that bridge. They've found a way to connect. And so we're really trying to build off of that and just create more connection. And it's going to look very different now, for now anyway, because we were very interested in having community events, having our physical space being alive and like having the energy of everyone that's present. And now we had to really adjust and think about what is needed now. And I think one of the main things that we found was needed is, people need food. People need support and they need food. So what are we going to do? Like, this is what we do. This is what we have to contribute. And so we were able to do some fundraisers. We were able to support people in the community and collaborate. And so we were trying to bring these 3 C's together. And so we did a lot of collaboration with UFI, with other nonprofits and organizations that are trying to do something. So that's where a lot of our energy has been as of now. In terms of updates to where we are with our actual build out, so our design is complete, finally. And what we're basically hoping to do now is get some money so that we can finish the project. And so we have applied to several loans. It has, as I think many of us might know, the process of loans looks very different and is taking a lot longer than before. And part of that also is that there are a lot of businesses and restaurants that are in need. And it felt important to us to just like hang back and let those funds go to those people in need. And, we can take the time. But now it seems like there are loans that are specifically for us, those that are new businesses. And so we're trying to apply to those and get started. And so as soon as we have the funds, we will start build out. So everything is getting set up for that. We are in the process of completing our health permit and we're pretty far along on that. So hoping that's actually in the next week or so that we're done. So those are kind of our general updates, but certainly here to answer any questions. Or
I would like to add a couple things. During this pandemic, there's been 2 major shifts within our organization and in the industry. And one is definitely innovation. So, during the thick of pandemic, for Kwasi and myself, we've spent in last 15 years just being on our feet, working long hours and being with people, and that's where we thrive. But with pandemic, we really had to take a major step back, and our lifestyles have greatly changed. I used to be not home for a while, but now I'm home. So, working from home looks very different when you work in a restaurant. So innovation is already there. And with pandemic, I think our team building was even more stronger than before.
Mhm.
We had that in our mind, but now it's very, it's a lot deeper. So we are happy to see that. We've been building our team in the background as we do our pop-ups. We have a very strong, small but mighty team. And we are very excited and very confident that, we will open our doors this year. And thank you. Any questions? We are here.
Excellent. Thank you, Biplaw, Nyako, and Kwasi. Thank you, Comfort Kitchen.
Sure.
Jack, are you unmuted? Am I looking at that correctly? Are you wanting to ask the question?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, no, I do not have any questions. I was actually just looking at Comfort Kitchen's website as they were talking.
Oh,
yeah,
excellent.
no,
Can you
my
do it?
eyes.
Can you do us a favor, Jack, since you found it, and drop it in the chat for everybody else here to
Yeah,
see?
you got it. I'll do that right now. But yeah, I can't wait to pay those guys a visit for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a bunch of questions for y'all.
Right.
Sure.
So both of you, Kwasi and Nyako, and there's a question in the chat, and I'll ask it after this. But both of y'all talked about so kind of part of the thinking going into Comfort Kitchen was what you wanted to change about the food industry. And one of the things you talked about was pay structure and how you treat and how employees are treated, the type of jobs employees have. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Can you provide some specifics? So what are y'all thinking in terms of pay structure, and what are you thinking in terms of the types of jobs you will provide?
Sure. I want to paint a picture before our pre-pandemic picture, so everyone is on the same page, because a lot of folks don't understand or have the opportunity to know what goes on behind the closed doors in restaurants. As we know, like most things in the United States, restaurant is actually one of those intersection where a lot of things happen in the kitchen. So we have immigration, to healthcare, to basic pay, to accommodation, to food insecurity, and the list goes on. And this also, it's a little microscope of what happens even internationally, how our food chain happens within our borders and outside our borders. So we are looking into that. So that's pre-pandemic, and even restaurants. So one thing with pandemic, I feel like people are more aware of what the pay structure looks like. It was based on tipping system, which was created during slavery and after slavery to not pay for labor, and it is still with us to this day. And this has created a huge difference for workers. So at Comfort Kitchen, we're trying to change that. And right now, our commitment is, definitely our minimum wage is going to be 15 or more. We are looking into getting rid of tipping system, but we are not very confident at the moment, because with pandemic, even tipping system, for some structure, it looks like tipping system might actually work better. So we are looking into that. We are looking into having healthcare for all our employees, 401k, profit sharing, and we are going to be following open book policy for our restaurant. And there are a few restaurants already doing that. Mm-hmm. One being May, and another one is Juliet in Somerville. Mm-hmm. They are in the forefront, and it's been working for their system, and we would love to dig deeper and see how it works for us as well.
Thank you, Biplaw. We have some more questions in the chat. So we have, what does innovation look like for you guys with COVID?
So I'll let Kwasi speak on it too. You want to go ahead, Kwasi?
Absolutely, I would totally take that. So I think, and like Biplaw said, we're looking at doing things a lot differently than restaurants have been done in the past, specifically small restaurants. Biplaw and I have had conversations after conversations many years. I mean, this is part of the reason Comfort Kitchen became a thing for me personally anyway. It's just, we always talked about what was broken in the food service industry and that kind of system. Innovation looks like, trying to create a restaurant that does not rely on shortcuts to supplement profitability. And that's what we're looking at right now, where it's like, I think COVID was a huge wake-up call for everybody that's in the food industry, where we all kind of got a front seat or a front row seat to the curtain being drawn back, right? And I think you know, these are conversations that we've been having for so many years that it's just, there are certain things that have not been working for a very long time. And I think a lot of people in the industry already knew that, and we already knew that. And we were talking about, well, how can we get in and change it? And that innovation goes with, you know, kind of putting a team out there that says, okay, we're here to create cuisine that people love. We're here to create a concept that people can get down with, but at the same time, really treating the whole process in a sustainable way. Because for, you know, for me, 12 years in the industry, I always heard sustainability, but it always referred to the product and not the people. You know, and we're taking an approach where we're looking at how can we make it sustainable for the people that are involved in the process. You know, for instance, you know, we've been doing these pop-ups for 3 months now. And the truth is, because we're a global comfort food concept, we also have a very mass and, well, I don't want to say mass, but a very diverse team. And under normal restaurant circumstances, it's going to be one person dictating what's happening in one menu. Whereas in this case, we're able to have a communal approach to the menu development, right? So I feel like that's innovative in itself, because it's been a very long time, if any time, that the industry has been to that process or has kind of focused on that process. And that, like, to me, for me personally, that's where the innovation lies, because we're creating something that's not, I want to say, it's not a cylindrical situation. It's kind of built wide as opposed to built tall, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would like to add two good examples for innovation. So we have in our team, we are just 6 of us that works in the kitchen, and including Rita and Nyako that does marketing and OD work. One good example is when we were doing meals for family of 4 with partnership with UFI, we were dishing out, every week we were doing 150 families, a family of 4, that's 600 people. And that was during December and January. And then we went to February and we were working in a very small, tight kitchen in Tanam, and people know how small Tanam is. And we were doing, you know, meals for a couple or a family. And we were equipped with our tools where we could change to that format very fast. And working in different kitchens around the city, all kitchens are not the same. So having to adapt to it and do a pop-up has really put us on our toes. It might have taken us 4 to 5 years before pandemic for us to gain that skill. And now we have that. And along with that, team building is a huge process for us. We get to know each other. We are, you know, working with masks on. So you get to work with people with no expressions and just, you know, just people with their eyes. So that's innovation in itself. And then takeout innovation is by far, I think, the one that has been able to pivot really well in pandemic. Before pandemic, we would not give so much thought about, all right, how will this meal last when it's been delivered? Is it still going to be warm? What does it look like? So we are able to play with our food, with the containers, and all these things takes a long time, but with pandemic, it was squeezed in and we were able to capitalize on it.
Oh, thank you, Biplaw. And that's actually a good segue to the next question. So John had a field day with the chat, with the questions in the chat. So John asked 3 questions. The first was, did you do takeout during pandemic? The second is, are we, and I think that must mean Ujima, John, are we doing a part of the loan application process? I think that's what you're asking, is Ujima doing a part of the loan application process? And are you, Comfort Kitchen, moving toward co-op structure?
Sure. So we are definitely only doing takeout during pandemic. Until February, we were just doing community meals and fundraising meals. So starting actually in February and March this month and next month, we are doing pop-up at May on weekends, Saturday and Sunday from 5 to 8. It's only takeout. And we are also offering delivery through DoorDash at May. And in Central Square, the Starlight Opportunity, it's a winter market in the parking plaza right behind Etchmart. We are there the month of February and March from 12 to 3, Saturday and Sunday, and that's only takeout as well. And then we will continue doing takeout until we open our doors. Second, are we doing yes, we are applying for loans with Ujima.
Yeah, and then in terms of our structure, so we're exploring that right now. We have equity investors, and so we have to negotiate that in terms of what's going to be the best structure. I know for sure that a goal of ours is after a few years, once we actually start generating a certain amount, that we're able to either give shares or to do an ownership structure with employees. Especially, you know, we have this really solid group right now where we're already trying to chart out how do we make sure that they are compensated for the incredible amount of energy that they're putting right now, including having shares.
Cool. Thank you, Nyako. And if we have time, I want to kind of go back to that point, because that was one of the cool things y'all were talking about in your first iteration of Comfort Kitchen that I would want to explore a little later. But John got excited again and added a question. But before that, Jenny asked, what organizations or TA service providers would you name as helpful so far?
Yeah, Leaf is definitely one. They have been, Chris in particular, been incredibly helpful, you know, help us build our whole model, helped us think about co-op or how we might be able to do something for our employees as well, or our co-owners. So that's one. And then also
another one, the service that we use at the very beginning of our inception was with the city. So city offers accounting and web design services for free of cost. We did take upon accounting with Stacy, and you all probably know Stacy very well. So she was helping us in the very beginning, and we are still working with her. Yes.
Yeah, we still work with her as well. And
we still work with her to this day.
Excellent. That's good to hear. That's helpful information for us. Thank you. And then John asked, did you get any Fed money?
Nope. Well, I mean, we didn't apply. I mean, based on where we're at, since we're not open. So the funds that we did raise was through Mainvest, and we raised about 100,000. And so we've just basically been holding on to that money and using it to do what we're doing with the pop-ups, and saving the rest so that we can put it back into the business.
Thank you. And I was going to mention Mainvest, because I remember you all had a successful fundraising campaign on there.
Yeah.
And I really was just going to mention it as an example. Just you're definitely beloved by community members. So I think for sure that campaign was evidence of that, and definitely see a lot of people rallying behind Comfort Kitchen. We are rooting for Comfort Kitchen. Ujima, we're rallying behind you all as well. So definitely wanted to make sure I stated that. And on that note, you're currently fundraising. How much are you looking to fundraise?
So right now we are looking to fundraise. Our goal is $300,000 in total, and that includes loans from city or any other banking institutions.
Yeah, excellent. That's good to know. And then I think we have some time. So I remember before you were thinking of a membership structure, which is something that I thought was pretty cool. So I heard you mention kind of equity shareholders and thinking about co-ops. co-op structure, are you still thinking of a membership structure for Comfort Kitchen?
Yeah, definitely. We are looking into membership. It may look a little different than your usual standard membership structure. We are looking into having voices from community with this membership structure is what our goal is. And our initial plan before pandemic was to also have an incubator, a food incubator, where we cultivate businesses that are focused on, food and beverage, and we would work along with them for them to open their own brick and mortar or whatever it may be. So for that, we were looking to membership structure. For now, we haven't put a lot of time and effort into it just because a lot of things that's happened, but it's on the plan.
And then changed everything.
Yeah, a lot of things got stripped. Like now we're just, how do we get our doors open and start to make immediate impact with the people we work with and the direct community that we have. But it is definitely, that's the purpose. That's why we're here. But we're just trying to get the doors open right now.
Cool, thank you all. And you said this year, and what's kind of ideal for y'all timeline wise to open?
I mean, ideally, it would be great if we could open in summer,
Okay.
but it looks like, it's going to take at least 6 months. We have our build out left. So this being February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, I mean, we could, but the loan process looks very different with the city and banking institutions, and those are a big factor.
Okay. Cool. That's good to know. Well, I'm excited too. So I have a whole bunch of questions as I jump, but that's the end of my questions. Does anybody else have any other questions? And I'm looking through to see. Okay.
To answer my question to you, which is this part of an application?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so Biplaw answered that. So yes, yep. So one of the main thing we have to think about with Comfort Kitchen is a timeline that works best for them, because our timeline is a lengthy one too, and so that's the main thing that we need to figure out in terms of how we support Comfort Kitchen. And on that note, Jenny asked, how can we support you more?
Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks, Jenny.
For now, I would just visit our website and our Instagram post and support our pop-ups that we are doing in February and March. We are looking for a home before we open our doors. So that might be something that we are working on. It's not finalized, but that would be a different space or a restaurant that we would occupy for 5 to 6 months before we open our door. Just functioning just like we would do with Comfort Kitchen. And there are different advantages to it. It would help us employ all of us. We get to try our menu, we get to test our recipes, and so on and so forth. So
cool. And then Claudia has a fun question. Thank you for that, Jenny and Biplaw. Claudia asked, did you come up with any new recipes in the pandemic?
Yes, we did. So, the beautiful thing about pandemic is that everybody was stuck at home just cooking, making bread or whatever. For us, it was always kind of, like Biplaw said earlier, a lot of team building and being able to go out and do all these things. We've been working a lot on recipes, and because we're a global comfort food concept, we just get a chance to play with a lot. Like we're not limited to anything. We can just imagine, and I'm a Coming to America buff, and if you can imagine Coming to America when they just spun the globe and they just pointed to a place, it's like, oh, we're going there. That's what we've been doing, really, is just with the recipes, is just kind of spinning the globe and like, oh, let's try that out and see how that works. And, pandemic has been okay for us in that sense, where we're able to just pick a place and just pick a cuisine and play around with the recipes. So we've worked on a bunch of stuff that are gonna transcend in our opening menu, but we're also planning on having menus after that all throughout the time Comfort Kitchen is open.
Kwasi, you should talk about the couscous jollof, our innovation and new recipe.
Oh no.
The couscous jollof, that's a big one, because I'm originally from Ghana and we do jollof rice. Every West African knows jollof rice is the business. You don't mess with the jollof rice. But we've been doing a lot of research, and originally jollof was not made with rice at all. It was originally made with an ancient grain called fonio, which is it's very native to West Africa, but the Alawaf people who jollof rice is named after use that, but most people know jollof as rice. So we played around with that with couscous, and it ended up working very well for us. And it's like, wait a minute, I think I like this. Let's go with this a little more. I mean, we might offend some purists, but the truth is,
I see the faces.
Down to the roots, go down to the roots, no matter, we might offend some people, but that's okay.
I want to add, it's very interesting for me because once pandemic hit, a lot of people, especially in restaurant, we were thinking about how long the food would last, how it's going to travel well. And jollof couscous is that one meal that I think did well, because in the winter, if you're sending food to someone's home, jollof couscous would work better. It would work on salad, whatnot. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for that question, Claudia, too. Jack asked, as a startup tech company owner, how can I help besides ordering your food?
That's
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, but I would say in general, I mean, sharing with your network what we're up to, I think that would be helpful, not just, the pop-ups, but also the concept. I would say, we're always looking for investors. We're looking for people that are interested and would want to support us. We love going the loan route, but it is helpful to have other types of support as well. So, in general, just sharing and letting people know and really being vocal about it, that's very helpful to us. And we'd love to see you sometime too, in person, if you want to stop by.
Yeah, and I would add to that is, I would like to see people that are working on similar concepts, not just in food. We want to venture into, transportation and food where it intersects. And there's a lot of intersection in it. And I would like to see, public policy people that are working towards the same goal and how we can work together as a collaborative process. And that's, yeah. And, we are open for that discussion in the future as well.
Cool, thank you. And I think, so I see a question in the chat, and then I want to tack mine on to the end because we might have just enough time because it's 7:10. So Jackie asked, do y'all plan on doing things like meal boxes that has all the stuff people need to make a meal or two at home? So I'm going to ask you at the same time. That's one question. And then just on the investor thing, because that's what I'm curious about too. I was going to say to Jack, talk to your people, get together a group of investors. And so I was just going to ask, like, do you have I guess, do you have kind of like a structure or a format for someone who's interested in investing privately? Do you kind of have kind of like an easy, these are maybe the levels we can kind of come in at, or this is what you're looking for?
We don't have that particular structure, but we could, create something. It's in language, it's just not in graphs or.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a conversation, because we also, we would be curious of what you would want to get out of the engagement besides just getting paid back at some point. But
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So on that front, it would just be bringing people to you, and then you just kind of take the conversation from that point. Okay.
For sure. Yeah, and we would love that. Thank you for just mentioning that, Nia.
Yeah, excellent. And then John said he just liked you on Facebook. And then just want to go back to Jackie's question, who asked about the meal boxes.
So, one of the things that we've always talked about with Comfort Kitchen is Comfort Kitchen Upham's Corner was never meant to be just Comfort Kitchen Upham's Corner. The possibilities are endless, and the truth is we could reach those possibilities based on the resources we have, and based on the resources we get, we're hoping to do this all around. If time and circumstances permit, we're willing to take this as far as we possibly can go, because the truth is, one of the things, again, I mentioned this earlier, one of the things I love about the concept personally is the global comfort food aspect, where we're not just doing one, cookie cutter situation when it comes to cuisine. We can expand and just broaden our horizon as we go. And there's really no limit. We can essentially build on any cuisine, and it's not to really get into a space where we're kind of exploiting cultures just for their food, but we're really highlighting what's positive and what's beautiful about those cultures through the food. And that's what the concept is really about. Celebrating the cultures that we otherwise will not see in the mainstream, if you would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And just to, for Jackie's question, yes, we will be. I think what we'll plan to do, so we have a couple coming. We might have a Momo class coming soon. Yes. From Biplaw, where you can, so basically we send the food to you or you purchase it yourself, and then you can take an online class and learn how to make it in real time with support from Biplaw or Kwasi as well.
That is very cool, the real-time support.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, I think on that note, that wraps us up. So I'm going to thank you once again, Comfort Kitchen. And I'm just going to say out loud so that people hear me. You can find the website at www.comfortkitchenboss, as in Boston, right? .com. So comfortkitchenboss.com. Check them out. You're doing some pop-ups. I know I've seen some stuff on Facebook. So to that end, you have a Facebook page. Yes. Do you have any other socials?
So Instagram is our main social that's our primary social. Seems like food folks and restaurant folks congregate on Instagram more than Facebook.
Cool. And what's your handle on Instagram? Where can people find you? Excellent. So Comfort Kitchen Boss on Instagram. And you just got some affirmation, Kwasi, from a fellow West African on the Jola.
I just saw that right now.
Yeah, so just want to say everybody heard all the different ways they can support. So of course, ordering and enjoying the food, spreading the word, and also bringing potential private investors to you all. So go ahead, Biplaw.
Don't forget to add to our mailing list email.
Yes.
Yes. And how do people do that?
So on our website, there should be a box that says, do you want to, link up to our newsletter? We do that every month. So you'll find all the updates in the newsletter.
Excellent. Thank you so much, y'all. And so with that, I will stop the recording.